welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, Ty DeGrange, and I'm really excited to talk to Kayla Castro today. Kayla, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Happy Friday.
Yay. Yeah, happy Friday.
Any good plans? I know you're up in Portland area, and any fun plans for the weekend? Anything good coming up?
There's a slight chance this might be like our last good weather weekend of the year, so we're doing like an end of summer barbecue type thing. So, yeah, it should be a
Beautiful,
good time.
beautiful. I
What
love
about
it.
you?
We might finally get the family to a UT, University of Texas football game
Oh, that's
this weekend.
fun.
Yeah, I've been a few times, but haven't got the wife and kiddos to join me. So we're gonna try to soak up some of the school spirit.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it should be good. Well, I think we're in for a treat today. Kayla's got a great affiliate experience and background. Currently leading affiliate partners for Zenni Optical, and really excited to dive into all things affiliate, talk a little bit about measurement. I'm sure we'll have some uh, good things to share given her experience. Um, what maybe starting out, Kayla, give us a little bit of thought around when you jump into a program, maybe for the first time, or when you think about frameworks of like what levers do you pull? Um, what are some things that the audience might find interesting in terms of what you might look for first to look to improve or optimize in an affiliate program?
Yeah, I've done it several times now, but like typically the first thing I do open the door to their affiliate program and take a deep dive into existing partners and contract setup. I found that most brands really think they have a healthy affiliate program because the overall numbers looking great, but really there's like three or four partners driving 99% of the sales. And then you kind of poke around and you're like, well, actually, you don't have like some of these really easy, low hanging fruit partners in your program at all. And the ones that are driving sales aren't necessarily incremental. You got some small partners, but they don't really interact with your brand at all. You're not sending out newsletters. So I kind of do like a bit of like an audit deep dive, and really like get under the skin of the program and figure out what's going on.
I love that. What's something that you find, and this is just totally near and dear to my heart too, and spot on. I feel like um, there's so much devil in the details in terms of these audits, and it's insane what we've observed and how often things are not set up correctly. To your point, what's something that you see as a mistake that often people fall victim to in affiliate marketing?
Oh, man, it probably depends on their level of experience with affiliate, like new new marketers might really make the mistake of like I would say almost like hyper focusing on an affiliate and maybe like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, being like, this partner says they're like a medium-sized affiliate. We're gonna make it work for our brand. That might be a mistake that I see like a lot of young affiliate marketers handle, but sometimes I see like the most successful affiliate marketers have really figured out how to speak the language internally to their brand or their company. They know how to talk finance to get budget approval. They know how to storytell to the C-suite. And that really helps the channel get understood internally. It helps them have success and support where they need it. And I would say like not taking that extra effort to like learn those departmental languages inside a company can be a massive mistake down the road.
Yeah, I think that's where folks like us on the agency side and having been internal quite often, it's so critical to have that executive buy-in, to have internal buy-in. And then to your point, for the internal, stakeholder leading affiliate or other aspects of the business, it's just so critical for them to be able to paint the picture to executives and leadership within the organization so that they understand what is being done, what needs to be done, what's happening. Um, and so I really like that call out. I think it's super important because you could be doing all the right things to a T, but if that message isn't getting heard throughout the organization, then really doesn't matter.
Yeah, totally. Or if, other departments really just perceive affiliate. A lot of times I've come across departments perceiving affiliate as like kind of like the low, like, I don't know, like last click grabber of attribution, like not seen as a team player channel, not seen as something that brings incremental value, and it's almost like a weird competitive thing. So yeah, learning how to play nicely with other departments is pretty key.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. You've probably heard me share it, but I have to agree with you. It's by far the most misunderstood marketing lever, and it's just such an underrated one. And so I, I've been blown away. I've even talked to like a very seasoned head of marketing who was, had affiliate underneath them multiple times that thought as of like 4 years ago, oh, it's like mostly coupon and deal, right? And it was like,
Oh my
whoa,
gosh.
like crazy, crazy level of education required for our space. Um, and just to like now it's kind of feels like we've maybe come full circle where I feel like with the AI changes, with some of the measurement improvements, I think some of the better practitioner improvements and some of the things I've shared recently, it feels like now it's becoming such a necessity, such a needed, obvious win for brands that I feel like we've kind of come back um, to a world where you really need it, but the nuance is doing it the right way, which it's so nice to hear you validate.
Yeah, yeah.
You've talked a lot about, we've talked about measurement. You've had a lot of experience with measurement and things like media mix modeling, incrementality.
Hmm.
It's been a hot topic on the podcast. We've talked to a lot of vendors, practitioners that are outside of the affiliate world in growth, those that provide MMM solutions and measurement solutions, something I'm passionate about personally. I'm involved in it in the PMA Council as well. What do you think people get wrong about measurement in the affiliate world and in measurement in general?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think like right off the bat, it's got to be that people don't understand the difference between MMM, MTA, incrementality as a whole. Um, but they're really different measurement tools. And like not even just affiliate marketers not understanding it, like people at heads of data teams, or like heads of marketing channels as a whole don't understand the difference. And they'll just think, oh, I've heard MMM, that's exactly what I need. But really what they're trying to find is like a more something that looks more like an MTA, where it's like a little bit more granular. It's a little bit more like real time data. It's a little bit more
Yeah,
of like showing how the different channels play together versus an MMM, which is more just like budget allocation at a higher level. It's probably better like monthly or quarterly for data, and then incrementality is like something completely separate. And I don't think a lot of people understand that affiliate is like a really hard channel when you're stacking them next to like paid search and paid social, and you're trying to do like A B testing or geo targeting and really like doing that micro level tweaking of a program to get the max efficiency. Affiliate doesn't necessarily play well with that, depending on what partners you have in your program. So, like at Zenni, our program's very content heavy. We can't ask Hearst or Forbes to start doing geo targeting and like releasing articles with Zenni in only certain regions to see how they perform. That's not necessarily something that you can like ask of a partner that that just generates content like that. So, um, when we were interviewing a lot of like SaaS, MTA, MMM type solutions, they would say they could absolutely involve affiliate and test for affiliate. And then when I started like poking around and asking, well, how are you doing that? Like, how are you actually A/B testing for affiliate? They're like, oh, yeah, and it just their whole like pitch kind of fell apart. So it was like a really interesting eye-opening experience for me to like realize not a lot of people truly understand like how to test for incrementality within the like whole as a marketing channel.
yeah. I've found that, the holdout test piece I've seen, be available through, email, some of the more sophisticated high volume loyalty players and a few others in the space. And I think that MMM has been something where if structured in a way that is compatible with affiliate on the exposure side, you can get some really interesting learnings over time from it, but you obviously require, the
Yeah.
channels, volume, exposure, and impression data to support it. Um, I appreciate your perspective on it. It makes a lot of sense. It's funny how sometimes as you poke through those conversations, you realize that maybe that it's not as readily available as you'd like it to be. What are some other things that you've found that have worked well when you in your experiences now and in the past to set up conversations for success and tests for success and measurement the right way when it comes to, affiliate, as it is obviously very unique.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing, because we went through a whole deep dive into like MMM type solutions last year as a company. And we ended up just building our own with our data team because I don't think there was one that really fit
Yep.
what we were looking for. Um, and what was really helpful for us is like I just spent time building relationship with the data team and just doing webinars with them, helping them understand the channel, going deep into research and reporting and figuring out, okay, what are we pulling? We're on impact. So what are we pulling from impact that's going to like actually be helpful information for you when you're putting together this MMM every month or whatever, however often they're pulling the data. So that actually like was a huge investment of time and energy, but those relationships now are so much smoother and I'm not hitting friction. They're understanding that affiliate actually
Yeah.
is a great builder channel for the marketing mix, like we do
Yes.
only pay out when there's an order ID attached to it. Like we're not paying per clicks or per
Yeah.
impressions, we're not looking at UVMs. And I understand that like every business is built differently. Not everybody has a channel that's built the way that ours is, but having an actual like, there are three people on the data team that I really was just like, we're gonna have weekly calls. I will take the time and do affiliate 101 with you. And they were really open to it as well, which definitely was helpful.
Yeah, that's amazing how much, in business and life where those relationships and conversations help, and willingness to like lay cards on the table and have a good conversation about, how do we sort this out together. And it's fascinating how much that can help, and be willing to dive into the data objectively to educate people on, what the channel is capable of, and how do you more effectively measure it. We have clients that are definitely investing there in terms of cross-channel understanding, bringing data expertise, from our side, from client side. I love that you were able to do that, and we're seeing clients have success with, building out some things on their own. In some cases, I think there's a lot of interesting options in this space. Absolutely, but I like that. Sometimes you have to kind of create it from the ground up, especially with certain teams. It sometimes they I don't know how you felt, but I think that being able to control the inputs and outputs sometimes can be a very big validator for some internal teams, depending on where you're at.
Yeah. I mean, especially because being where affiliate sits, we don't always get to have like a seat at that table when you have a big MMM solution that you're paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for. The people who are looking at that and like having the conversations about where to allocate budget or where to allocate like support internally, affiliate's not always like a part of that conversation. So it was nice that it worked out that like we actually had access to the people who were trying to figure out like where to allocate resources at the
Yeah,
company level. So that was unique.
yeah, absolutely. And when you've seen those, measurement conversations progress internally, what were some of the bigger learnings maybe you've had in your career, just at a high level, um, that have kind of come out of some of these measurement conversations or holdout tests, um, or experiments, or MMM. I'd love to hear your perspective on it if you have some things that you've observed over the years that like, wow, that was like a surprising learning, or maybe something interesting to share with the audience.
Yeah. When I first started at Zenni, they asked me to kind of do an overhaul of the program. They had kind of like what I just said at the beginning. They had like three or four partners doing 99% of the sales. It was all coupon and deals partners in the program. I think there was like three content partners in the program. They were like, and we know this isn't how we want it to be, but we don't know how to get to where we want it to be. So, um, usually I would say like we don't ever just turn off a partner. Um, like that's each partner is a relationship, and most of them don't take kindly to just being, rejected out of the program and given like 24 hours notice. However, we didn't have an incrementality tool at the time, and I was like really trying to argue the case that there are partners in the program that would have, that would be getting sale credit if other partners weren't in the program, or that certain partners weren't bringing in incremental value. And I like really had to just have a conversation with my boss at the time and just say like, the performance on the channel is going to drop if you want me to take these partners out, and I will, but you need to understand that like that's going to be a consequence. It's not going to be, all of a sudden all this bulk of this revenue is just going to like be given to the tiny little influencers that are also a part of the program. Just because they're part of a program doesn't mean they're doing the bulk of the sale. And so they were like, okay, sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I cut the top three partners who were all deal sites, and everyone freaked out because they were like, well, where did all the revenue go? And I was like, well, truly, let's look at our site sales. How have they been affected? Because we just cut them in a day. And then they went to the data team, looked internally. They were like, oh, okay, actually, no, we didn't see sales drop for the day. And I was like, yeah, we don't. That's truly like blunt force proving incremental value of a partner. If these were incremental sales, we would see the site suffer. Um, then we, eventually like brought on a more sophisticated incrementality tool to kind of like tweak things at a finer level. But that was like a really shocking thing where it was kind of like a never say never. I guess you can sometimes, like if you want to prove a point, just drop a partner from a program. But that was definitely a relationship that I was like, we may not get this partner back, so be okay to like drop them.
Yeah, always good to set those expectations internally, and I think um yeah, it's good. It's a good like simple logic methodology to kind of talk through like have we actually lost, something from the removal of this, which is the true definition of incrementality, which people often obviously there's more accurate ways to actually measure that, but there's times when it makes sense to do it that way, and a lot of people don't even get that definition accurate in terms of this is how we're thinking about incrementality.
Totally. Yeah. I think a lot of people also really struggle with incrementality because they feel like it is the source of truth, but really it's like an educated guess. Like we aren't actually able to like
Yes.
prove at what point the buyer made the decision to make the purchase. It is at best like an educated guess. And so I think every like it if more than anything, like incrementality plus MMM has been like my magic solution to look at partners and say, yes, these partners are bringing incremental value according to this tool. But also, if we're looking at an MMM, you can see how things play really well together. For us, it's like customers love doing affiliate and our email tool, like our CRM solution. And so we do a lot more partnerships with that department, knowing that like that's like a pretty great mix to generate sales for us. But also knowing that like certain affiliate partners on their own just really seem to like be the only touch point in the customer journey. And that's like a pretty incremental partner, even if they're not
Yep.
bringing in like, tens of thousands of dollars every week or whatever it is. Like an incremental sale is an incremental sale. There's a customer lifetime value attached to that. And, like 10 sales is still better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes there's a long tail and mid tail aspect of partners that need to be addressed and rewarded. Um, this brought up the notion of attribution models and attribution methods. Can you share a little bit with the audience, like how you might think about attribution method and last click versus other types of attribution models?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that we like, some of these networks have released some tools for like messing up the attribution. It's not all last click only for networks now, which is nice. So we have been playing around with that for a bit this year. And I mean, it's pretty easy for us to figure out who's low funnel, especially with the incrementality tool. Like we can figure out which partners are lower funnel, and those I'm fine giving like last click attribution to, like lower priority. But there are partners, especially creators, who have value that's not just um, tied to a sale. Like a lot of creators, we will repurpose their content into like ads for paid social. And that's a value that's like not necessarily tied to a sale, but it's a value for us. It would cost us a lot of money to just buy that content or create it internally for us. So um giving them like a higher, I mean, it used to be like we would just give them a higher commission, knowing that like, okay, only 1 in 5 sales is actually going to get attributed to you. Now we can kind of tweak the system in the contracts such that they get higher priority for getting attribution for that sale. So if there is an affiliate who gets a click later on, if a partner is listed as a higher priority, they can technically get kind of like a first click attribution. I wouldn't say it's perfect. I did at one point, and I don't know who this guy is, but if he hears this podcast, reach out to me. We had a great conversation at like um, Etail West like 3 years ago, and he was working for a mattress company, and he went through and like created his own attribution logic. And he partner by partner was like, if this partner gets first click, they get 25% commission. If this person gets last click, they get 5%. Like, I mean, he said it took him almost a year. It was impressive. I don't think we all need to be like micro analyzing our program that way, maybe for a mattress industry brand, but
Mhm.
I think there's still a tool to be developed that's like a little bit more of an in between where it does require some human logic and placing value with the partners as each brand sees fit, but it's like kind of like automated as well.
Yeah, I could almost see a world where you work with a team internally to almost emulate like Google's data-driven attribution, but apply it to the partner marketing world. I don't think it has to get uber complicated, but I think it is fascinating. And I think the landscape has changed to an extent where I feel like with partners being able to access audio, influencer, email, Substack, various social podcasts, like tracking is becoming, it's the rise of privacy concerns leading to lack of fidelity on the tracking side. Um, the benefits of like API and of tracking. I think there's so much to be desired, and now with AI, it's even more complicated with zero click coming a reality that
Yeah.
just default type thinking, practices is just beyond outdated. And I think that you're thinking about things differently. We're thinking about things very differently. So to provide more value that's custom to each situation, and your situation is obviously very unique. And I think that um, going well beyond last click is just the right approach. And I love that you're thinking about it that way. I'm surprised, just going back to our conversation about concentration risk, partner types, it's mind blowing how many programs are still stuck in some of those older methodologies where maybe they've introduced content great, maybe they've introduced card linked offers great, maybe they've introduced influencer, but they're still measuring off of things that don't align with those objectives, don't align with that diversified approach. Um, I don't know how you feel about that, but it just
Oh
seems
yeah.
like
I mean,
it's far too common.
definitely. And I think that if a company, because I've spoken to a lot of marketing people who aren't necessarily affiliate marketers, but they maybe are like, I'm a marketing manager and I do 4 different jobs in one kind of, or a lot. And affiliate's one of those. And they aren't experts. There's no like, if even if you have an undergraduate degree in marketing, I don't think there's an affiliate marketing course that you're taking. It's kind of like a niche industry. And so if a business hasn't touched on an agency or if they haven't hired someone with affiliate marketing experience specifically, it's kind of like they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they're running the program wrong. They don't know that there are better options for attribution or for partnership opportunities out there. They're just like, well, these are the ones who apply to the program, therefore that's who's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely thinking about it differently, which is great. One of the things that's interesting, I'm sure you've observed, is, obviously affiliate operates very differently, than search and social. Goes without saying. Um, there's obviously a, longer term, slower moving nature to it, but often I think the benefit of that is a lot of diversification, a lot of efficiency. Can be very cost effective if it's managed effectively. And obviously, you've got a mix of partner types that are going to represent different costs and efficiency, most certainly there. How do you think about balancing that volume desire with the, kind of well documented efficiency of the affiliate channel?
I mean, that's kind of what my quarter's been this quarter. I mean, people love how efficient affiliate is. They really love the ROI, the ROAS, whatever number they're looking at, it's looking really great. But it really takes an effort to like educate people that you can't just turn on the affiliate channel. Like people would I literally had a conversation last month where they were like, "Well, if we give you $5 more million this year, what can we do from it?" And I'm like, "Well, I would love $5 million this year. Thank you so much. But also, I can't like just immediately in 3 business days turn around a partner that's going to generate a high volume of sales. Like those aren't the incremental partners. And I've spent a lot of time getting the channel to a healthy place and just understanding that once you've got a healthy affiliate program, it is more of a slow and steady growth channel. Not every partner that you bring on is going to be in a top three immediately. Sometimes they may be a top three partner, but it might take 6 months to really build it up to that point. I think a lot of people saw that with card linked offers. Like they were like, oh, this is a wonderful partner to bring on, but it's not. There's a huge legal review process and an onboarding schedule. And it's not like tomorrow I can call Chase and say, put me in front of 4 million people across the nation. Um, that's just not like how it works. So it does take a lot of education because with other channels like paid search, you really can just like throw money at it and tomorrow you've spent it. So it is like a relationship first channel more than anything.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, AI is everyone's favorite, topic buzzword. I was talking to someone yesterday about how it's the, topic of the year. I said, I think it's the topic of the decade, but we'll see.
Probably.
Um, how do you see it being applied to your role and to affiliate?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It was a hot topic of like every conference this year. I don't think that's going anywhere next year, but I did want to think about this question because Um, I think it's really easy to just say like, oh, AI, like sure, like the networks are coming out with like an AI tool assistant. I'm not actually using that yet. I don't think it's at the place where it's like helpful for me in a day-to-day life. Um, but I do use AI to help me do two things. I use it kind of as my assistant. I have it draft my templates, I have it do competitor research, fix workflow efficiencies, that sort of thing. But I also can really see it like I've started to use it this way, and I think I'm going to continue to have it help connect my channel to what's going on with the company internally. So, using AI to like effectively figure out how to translate affiliate to the company's KPIs or how to help understand like where affiliates fitting in with larger company goals at like the 3 and 5 year level. And because that's something that I would normally take like weeks to figure out and tweak with my manager and do a lot of back and forth. And with AI, it's more of like a conversation that I can have within an afternoon. And like I feel like it's a pretty spot
Yeah,
on tool in that way.
I love that. I couldn't, I'm on a similar trajectory there in terms of these are the things I'm using it for. Um, we have rolled out, a tool. We are encouraging a lot of folks to spend time, money, and energy on using the tools, using improving their use cases, and so we want to dedicate time and effort to it. And I think that I think it's becoming an expected part of the workflow for a lot of individuals and a lot of teams. I think we're absolutely on that end of the spectrum. Um, I also like, the level of reality that you're coming to the table with regard to AI. It's not necessarily there for everyone. Like it's not as uh, oh, it's working like gangbusters on everything I'm doing. There's certain things that it's not necessarily as ready for, and I think that the workflows of the writing, it's nice to see it improving those cycles of efficiency. Um, but it's not an end all be all necessarily yet, which
Yeah.
may not be a bad thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It is
I
still
think
pretty
they.
nascent, you know? It's like not that old as far as technology goes. So,
Oh my
yeah.
God! Every 6 months, it's yeah something something nascent. It's so true. Um, and for me, and this is a good segue into our next topic as we kind of come down the home stretch. But like, I my sentiment is that the human connection, the conversations like this, the conversations at shows, the dinner conversations are obviously central to affiliate and have been for a long time. I think they're only going to become more valuable as more tech gets integrated into our lives. Um, and so I think we're going to need both, but I like that using it as an assistant thinking. And
Hmm.
I think that that authentic trust isn't coming from AIs and algorithms. Really, it's coming from humans, and third parties are what we are leaning into completely in this whole ecosystem to say, hey, do you want Zenni to say how great you are? Or do you want someone who's actually, experienced eyewear and seen the pros and cons of it and have gone through it and are really fans or have some education to share with their community or their audience? And that's, most likely what's resonating for you, and certainly is for a lot of brands we're seeing. So a long setup, but how are you thinking about tapping into authentic, trusted third parties, and where does that fit into all this for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's so true, like both at the brand level and at the affiliate level. You know, like customers really don't buy unless they feel inherently connected to the brand or that they really trust that it's like a brand that's going to either do good or sell a great product or work for them. Um, using like AI images or having a poorly worded return policy or something like that, like really puts a bad taste in people's mouth and it really like just dissolves that trust pretty quickly. And the same with affiliates, like I don't have like a three strike rule with affiliates, but there are affiliates that have really burned me. And I'm like, will they come back a year later and they said, we've fixed some things, and like that trust is really hard to build back, especially because this is like virtual, essentially. They're virtual relationships. Like I may never meet them in person. And I may never get to have like a conversation with their CEO or really see like how they've changed things. I'm relying on decks and case studies and things that can be easily like tweaked or falsified. And so it does require like a healthy amount of trust to say, okay, I trust that you're going to go and speak well of my brand out to your audience, or that you're going to keep my best practices as best practices, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of trust but verify parts of the relationship that absolutely need to be in place. Kayla, this has been amazing. You've definitely shared some really good insights and info and helpful tips. Um, what are give us a yeah, so just kind of coming down the home stretch on some personal questions. Your I have to say your background is elite in your book presentation effort. Well done, well done.
It is real. It's not a fake background. I get that sometimes.
You got the foliage, you got the color schemes. I mean, there's probably some really good classics on that bookshelf. What's your
Yeah.
what's your recommendation for a book for the audience?
So a book I just read that I think would like everyone would love is called Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it is like an end of the world fantasy book about it's like Dungeons and Dragons meets an action movie, and it's wonderful.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
hilarious.
That's amazing. I love
But
that.
yeah, if anyone out there needs a book recommendation, I probably can find one that fits their needs.
Okay. You may get some DMs after this asking, this is what I like and what do you suggest? So I'm
I'm just
sorry
setting
for
up my
you're
retirement
you're going
plan,
to
you
get
know.
so many direct messages now from people wanting a book recommendation from Kayla.
That's great.
I mean, when you come on with a library looking that good, it just you're going to get some questions on books. That's good.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Any trips or things that you're looking forward to or recommendations that you want to share with the audience, like maybe some of your faves?
Oh man, I like top three vacations of all time have all been in London. They've all been wonderful. So like I was like, if you haven't been
Wow,
to London, you've got to go to London. Um, yeah, I've been like a lot since I was an early teen, and every single stage of life I've found something wonderful to experience in that city.
that's really cool. I will say, I think I went for the first time in 2012, and it exceeded my expectations significantly. I didn't think it was going to
Nice.
be as amazing as it was, and I had an amazing time, got to experience some really great spots, and yeah, colorful, global, like had a lot to offer, tons
Yeah,
of history, obviously. Um, yeah, very
good
cool.
books as well if you're into books.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Did the Banksy tour. That was fun. A lot of good
Oh,
things. A lot of,
great.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Um, Kayla, it's so good to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time and being so generous. Where can people find you and reach out if they want to learn more?
I'm on LinkedIn. You're also
Mm,
free to email me, kayla.castro@zenni.com. So, yeah, I'm always open to meeting new people and partners.
amazing. Kayla, thank you so much. Thanks for talking measurement and affiliate, and have an amazing weekend. See you, everybody.
Thanks, Ty.